Yeah. BTV Productions, the Cultural Preservation Station. Tune in. Tune in. Hey yo. Black education, cultural preservation, Taylor BTV, because elevation. Tune into the station, we rockin' the whole nation. That's right, we rockin' the whole nation, prepping new generation for mental activation. Taylor BTV's the new sensation. Stop the hesitation and learn something new. My girl Taylor B's here to show and prove.
Peace, love, justice, and accountability, family. Welcome back to Justice on Earth Weekly. I am Taylor B, and this is where we keep the record to protect our people and demand justice on Earth. Tonight, we have 3 stories that we're bringing to you. We have a lot going on, so we're going to get right into it. Tonight, we are bringing a story to you that is still developing, coming out of Austin, Texas. The Austin Police Department have shot a 17-year-old black male, and he is dead after he is the one that placed the 911 call, and police say there was no gun found, and the item that was in his waistband was in fact a water bottle. So now this is the second incident where a water bottle is involved in a young black man being shot. So that is going to be our main story tonight. So without further ado, let me get the slides up here so we can follow along. All right. All right. Let's get into the first one. Like I said, the main story tonight is the Austin PD 17-year-old black male that is unidentified. We'll get into what his name is a little bit later on when we talk about it. Killed by the Austin Police Department after he placed the 911 call. Then we're going to talk about Corey Ruiz, who was killed by Madison Police. And Madison Police don't have body cam programs there, so it was not gotten on the body cam, but there were people who were recording it. So we do have a recording of that. And then, of course, we're going to be following our big story that we've been following, the Nolan Wells case. There's some news that came out of the independent autopsy and some information about the grand jury review. And also a CETO distress call that was made that we got to break down and listen to. And then, of course, we'll just touch on the 7D cultural ascension principles as we're going through. Of course, we're going to be covering our reparations watch tonight and our Black business spotlight. So let's get into it, family. When calling for help ends in death. We have heard it many times before when our people have made 911 calls and the police come and in fact kill us, the people who made the 911 call. This is not the first time this has happened. This is certainly not the first case where 911 calls have ended in us being unalived by the police. So we got to really be careful about what we're doing and when we call in 911. And real quick, let me stop sharing. And I'm going to share this. All right, family. So the first thing that we're going to be looking at is the Austin PD with the 17-year-old that they shot. Austin, Texas teen calls 911, calls police for help. Police arrive and shot the 17-year-old 20 times. They had mistaken a water bottle for a deadly weapon. Now, we know this isn't the first time that we have called 911 and the cops have come and they have actually unalived us, the people who called 911. This has happened a lot of times with like different mental health cases. This happened with, I forget the young lady's name, but she called and she said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," and the police shot her. If y'all know her name, put her name down in the comments. I forget what her name was. And we got to keep the name, right? We got to remember that name. I should know what her name is, but I can't, it slipped me. I can't remember what her name is. But yeah, so this isn't the first time that this has happened. We only kill Black people. So this is really explaining, they're telling on themselves. And this is a time where people who are in power, that are abusive in their power or corrupt in their power, this is a time for them to fall. All these astrological alignments that we have going on, this is a time for them to fall. And this is what we see. We see them telling on themselves. We see all of these patterns really coming on strong. I mean, we've always known it was there, but the patterns lately have really been strong, and it really looks like they're trying to start a war with us, right? They keep continuing to do the same things, harassing us for no reason. They was just harassing a 13-year-old boy walking down the street, walking home from school, just for no reason. So this is the type of stuff that goes on with the police department. So let's talk a little bit about the confirmed facts of the case for the Austin PD story. So the confirmed facts about the Austin PD case where the boy called 911 and the cops came and shot him are that the Austin PD says that the boy called 911. The call came in around 3:51 a.m. on July 24th. The officers found the 17-year-old black male near a community park, and it was reported by the Austin American Statesman through his father that the boy's name is Anthoniel Williams. And the APD says that he lifted his shirt and reached toward his waistband. 3 officers discharged firearms. He was pronounced dead at 4:25 a.m. Of course, the Austin police say that there was no firearm found because the young man didn't have a firearm. The call came from his phone, so he was calling for help. He was calling from a crisis standpoint. And now the police department is already trying to claim that this was death by suicide. But a few things that I want to point out by them trying to claim that should not be death by suicide just because someone went to reach for something. I bet if that was someone else that reached for something, they wouldn't have shot him. So that just goes to show that they can use that excuse because they know they only do this to black people, just like that police officer just told that woman in that video. So this is the type of stuff that we're talking about and dealing with tonight on Justice on Earth. So that's that first story. Now let's get into this other story with Corey Ruiz in the Madison Police Department shooting. This is in Madison, Wisconsin. Corey Ruiz, he's 38 years old. He was fatally shot by Madison police on July 22nd. Look at all those master numbers. He was 38, 3 plus 8 equals an 11. That's a master visionary. And on July 22nd, the 22nd is the master builder. So they're playing with this stuff. They're playing with us, family. So this is why I talk about all the numbers and talk about esoteric stuff, because not to get too far into that right now, but that kind of stuff matters. This is what we're dealing with, and you got to use the energy yourself so you can try to combat that, So, but anyway, so the police say that he injured an officer with a knife during an attempted arrest. I have seen other people get away with beating on the police, hitting the police with weapons, chasing them. One guy even had a gun pointed at the cops, and it was just in a standoff. The cops didn't shoot him. So, of course, they have civil rights attorney Ben Crump representing the family, and the investigation is underway still here by the state authorities. And there's also an independent person monitoring this investigation. And of course, what's going on now in Madison is that the Madison police most police have to wear body cams, but I guess it's like it depends state to state and county to county what their rules are. So apparently these Madison police officers don't currently have a required body camera program. So there was no body camera, so we can't ask for that. But there was some cell phone footage and some cell phone video of it. Of course, that can't be a part of the full record for whatever reason, but because it video recorded what happened, but it is a part of the record because, again, like we said, when something like this happens, everything that comes out about it is a part of the record. It's a part of the investigation. Whether the official institutions want to name those things as evidence or not, it still matters. So, of course, this case raises issues about de-escalation and about people who are in crisis. We have a lot of people in this country who have mental health issues. And oftentimes when people call the police for mental health issues, they come and shoot the person. So I do think that we need to look at that and look at some type of reform around that. And that's a part of one of the 7D cultural ascension principles. You know what I'm saying? Developing new ways to handle mental health crisis when someone calls with a mental health crisis. Maybe should be a mental health crisis line that you call. So it's not police that come, it's another type of healthcare provider that comes, and maybe the police accompany them or something like that, if that's the case. So there's different things that we can do and different things that we can talk about to try to change this stuff. Because at the end of the day, if we don't do things and put systems in place to try to change the stuff that we're subjected to, we're going to continue to be subjected to it. So that is why the 7D cultural ascension principles is important to keep in mind as we go through this. Now, let's get on with the next story. I'm not going to show the video of Corey Ruiz being shot by the Madison police. That video is on Instagram if people want to see it. I'm not going to show that. on here because I don't want to show that this young brother getting shot by the police. But now let's get on to this Nolan Wells story and the Nolan Wells case, because there's some revelations that came in. Now that I do want to share. So give me 1 minute. I'm about to get the Nolan Wells piece up here so I can share that. All right. Nolan, we're coming. Okay. Let me see. Is this it? No, I think that's the Corey Ruiz one. Okay, hold on. Let me pause it. And then let me share the screen, because this is important. I want us to listen to this so we can use our discernment about what we hear, about what our ears hear, right? Because we got ears to hear, right? It is unbelievable, the cover up that appears to be going on in this case. So the independent autopsy did not close the case. The case is still open. So the independent pathologist listed the cause and manner as undetermined and could not rule out foul play, which is a good thing because that means that it could be foul play. Reporters say that the pathologist was unable to fully examine key structures needed to assess drowning or neck injury because of the prior state of autopsy and missing or unavailable internal material, including parts of Nolan Wells' throat and his airway and his lungs. So I find it odd that the medical examiner office sent Nolan Wells' remains without those key things. Even if they were, damaged, they should have been sent with the body. So I think that there is a lot going on with this case right now, a lot of cover up going on. It just seems like things are too extreme for it to be like playing out this way. So what I want to also point out is there was a sea tow dispatch call that these kids made from their boat. And this is what I want to share right now. So that's what we're going to look at right now. All right, let me put the screen up here. All right. And you can read along with this. Let me make it big. Let me get myself down.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the work coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey.
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
We heard them in the background. I don't know if they thought that they could get away with calling that way and being erratic in the background and that people weren't going to pick up on the background noise on the call. But that call right there is pivotal. I think this is a pivotal part of the case. And I think it's going to bust things wide open. Hopefully, if the FBI feels like they want to get involved here, I think they really should get involved here. Now, like I said, the official autopsy and toxicology report still hasn't come out yet. So we're still waiting to see what this official report is going to say. But if it's going to go into the pattern of how things have already been going, I can tell that the official report's going to be some bullcrap. So I'm waiting for that, and we're going to wait and see what that says. In the meantime, also his buddy, Warren Hudson, one of the people that were on the boat with them, did an interview where they're basically acting like they still don't know what's going on. So that is what's going on with the Nolan Wells case. Now, let's get into our reparations watch this week. And for this week, we're going to be looking at the Illinois African Descent Citizens Reparations Commission statewide survey. This survey is only for you if you are Illinois resident. So if you're out there in Illinois, make sure you take this survey. This just came out at the end of June. So the commission is seeking public participation to help shape the recommendations for the repair bills that they're trying to write in that area Their mission includes preserving African American communities, building vocational centers, ensuring economic equity in state contracts, and creating a slavery era disclosure bill. So this is kind of important. It matters because our work toward getting our reparations passed is going to involve legislation. It is going to involve writing bills and really being on point with it and coming together with unity as a people. So that's what's going to help us get it there. So it's important. So if you live in Illinois, family, make sure that you go take this survey and make sure you share the survey around. I am going to put the link to the survey in the description below so you can share it with people if you know people that live in the Illinois area, because this is very, very important. Okay. And now we're going to get on to our spotlight on our Black businesses. So now we're moving on out of politics and law into economics. Of course, we're bringing you 3 Black businesses every week for you to frequent. If you have Black businesses in your area that you want me to spotlight, please send them to me in the comments below, or you can DM them to me. So this week's business spotlight is going to be on Alchemy Coffee. It is at 119 South 21st Street in Philadelphia. Of course, it's a coffee shop, and that is something that a lot of people drink. So if you're in the area, downtown area, make sure you are stopping in at the Alchemy Coffee Shop. Then we have Amezulu Collections inside the Reading Terminal Market. Of course, everything inside the Reading Terminal Market is pretty good. That's, of course, at 1136 Arch Street. This business supports Afrocentric fashion and made goods and jewelry. So make sure you're checking them out for all of that. And then we have Marsh in Maine. This is at 529 South 4th Street. It is a Black-owned natural hair and lifestyle boutique centered on intentional beauty shopping. So make sure you check out these businesses and support these Black businesses, all right? Now, that is all we have for tonight. Make sure you're following the royalty rules for this week by not letting any narratives that the official institutions give you be counted as the only thing that's record. That is not the only thing that is record. So we have to make sure that we are keeping a record for ourselves and keeping track of all of the things that come up around these investigations and hold them in our memory and in our data bank and document them. The 7D Cultural Ascension Principle documentation, make sure we're documenting that by doing what we all are doing and really coming together to make sure that we are supporting these families and continuing to keep the record open until justice has been served. Kings and queens up, peace, love, accountability, and justice.
Queens up in your hood.